And Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra issued a statement on Thursday denying charges of corruption in connection with the controversial rice purchase scheme. Meanwhile, there were protests outside businesses owned by her family. And for more on that story, I'm joined by CCTV's Cheng, who's in Bangkok.
Thank you very much. Yes, we saw yesterday the Prime Minister making an impassioned plea for the understanding of the Thai people. She said that the accusations which were leveled against her were not justified, and that she wasn't getting a fair hearing from the National Anti-Corruption Commission, which was investigating her. At the same time, the government appears to be fairly neutered. We saw a court ruling a couple of days ago that said the police couldn't use force to disperse the protesters. And since that court ruling, we've seen the protesters basically roaming around trying to chase the Prime Minister out of the various offices where she's been working over the last couple of months. Government House remains at the center of one of the main rallying protest sites, so she clearly can't go back there. And yesterday, as you mentioned, we also saw businesses which are currently associated with the Shinawatra family, but also had been in the past, and that's a worrying development. Former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, the current Prime Minister's brother, left Thailand in 2006 after a military coup. Many of his businesses had already been sold, but they appear still to be being targeted by the protesters as they try and shut down what they refer to as the Thaksin regime.
Tony, can the Prime Minister actually do anything about all of this, despite her denial and complaint that she's being treated unfairly?
Well, I think that's the problem. She really can't do very much about it at this stage, and I think that's why she made this very public statement yesterday. In Thailand, generally, we assume that much is dealt with under the table. Politicians generally present a smiling, confident face to the public, and to come out so publicly and say that for the Prime Minister to say that she felt so vulnerable at the moment, I think was an admission of weakness. At this stage, she appears to have the military trying to remain distant from her, certainly not in her corner. The judiciary seem to be acting against her, and the establishment in general seems to be working to try and get rid of this government. So I think what she has at her disposal is only public will, and in that sense, the elections we saw at the beginning of this month still haven't been resolved. So the public support that this government feels it enjoys, I think, still, certainly officially to a certain extent, still under question.
Cheng live for us in Bangkok. Thank you.